Alright, so now I've gone ahead, turned off the other lights just to make it a little bit more obvious what's coming from the Borealis. And let's get started with the review. What I like, what I don't like, everything in this video, because if you get towards the end, we're going to talk about the number one thing that I don't like about this light. Stay tuned. So first things first, we'll power it on. Again, I said I don't like power switches, but in this case I do. If I stand close to it, you can hear, okay, there's some fan noise kicking out of this guy. The two fans are variable speed. When you first start up, they kick in, but listen, they're off already. It's finishing its reset. Boom, good to go. Now, if I don't rip the cable out of the wall, then I'll move the fixture. We'll be able to see what's going on here. We've got our LCD display. Hopefully you guys can see that on the video. Tilt it up a little. Pretty typical LCD display. Of course, we'll insert a close-up. You've got OK and you've got 4 buttons. So you tap the right button to head into the menu. You can set the DMX mode. By the way, this fixture does have RDM. You can set the mode and address from RDM, and I have tested it. You can set the run mode, so you can put it into manual mode. Pan tilt inverts display, so you could switch it, switch languages in it. Be very careful with that. You could flip the display if the unit is hung, and have the backlight on all the time if that's really what you want. You can set it to sound active. Please don't use sound active mode. Pretty typical other stuff. Reset is in there. There's a DMX light on the menu and also an error light that will illuminate in case of errors, including, I believe it lights up when there's no DMX. Let me double check that. Never mind, just the DMX light comes off. What was I thinking? So, plug her back into DMX and let's get ourselves a little bit of a test going. So I've got it in the Light Shark here. I just chose the Light Shark today because it's easy and it has a lot of profiles in it. So we'll go ahead and turn this guy on. So here it is at full. We've got both the backlight and the regular light at full. You can start to hear the fans kick up a little, but they're not as loud as they were when it started. And to be honest, even in my really small office, it's not too bad. You've always got to remember when you're testing a fixture, especially in a tiny space like this, the loudness level that you hear in a small room is going to be different than in a large room. You know, you get this up in the air 10, 15 feet and you get it away from people and that level of fan noise really doesn't compute. So it kicked up a little, still not, it's really not bad. I would put it on par with other units of the same size. Again, it's about a 300 watt LED wash. Okay, let's look at this guy a little. So I'm just gonna move it around, pan and tilt, really chill. So we'll pan here. I'm just doing this manually on the console, or that was tilt, if I know what I'm doing. Woo, that guy's bright. Pan. As you can see, it's very precise. I don't really see any smoothing, but your console's fades will do that. So it moves quickly. If I move it from axis to axis, you can see it's quite fast. If I rotate it, it's also quite fast. Let's go ahead and look at the zoom. I'm going to point it at the wall here. It's in the middle of its zoom range right now. So the zoom on this guy, as mentioned, is 60 at the wide end and 10 at the short end. Like most beam fixtures, most wash fixtures that are similar to this, you notice when we get to the very bottom of the zoom range, it's actually the top of the zoom channel, which again is typical for pancake washes. They're backwards, where the tight zoom is at the top of the channel. You see when we get to the very bottom, the edge gets really tight. And when you see this in haze, and we'll include some video here that I took when I was at Gamma's showroom last time. When you have it all the way, you get that tight circle on the edge. It looks almost like a beam fixture in haze, okay? But as you soften it out, You know, here I'm not even to the middle of the zoom range yet, here. And the edge starts to soften as we move it more. We see the edge soften more, and then the beam becomes a little less defined in the air. Very typical of units like this. Again, you can zoom it all the way narrow, get a super defined beam, but you can wash up to 60 degrees and really cover a lot of space, either as a backlight, up on a set piece, you know, on a stage. There's a lot of good applications for a light like this. I'm just going to dim it down a little to make it content with the video lights that I've got here so we can actually see what we're looking at. So this is literally at like 15% on my, because I've got video lights in here. Let's go ahead and look at some colors. I'm just going to pop through the color palettes here in the Light Shark. So, red. Again, the intensity is way down here. Let me bring it up a little for the individual colors. Green. Green is, it's a little bit like we'd call a Kelly green. So, obviously, the color green, when it comes to LEDs, you're going to range from a yellowish green, you know, kind of a neon alien green, and it'll go to a softer green, which is more towards the blue side. Okay, this is a Kelly green. It's really in the middle, and I like a Kelly green on LEDs. Most LED fixtures feature it if they're not super cheap, because it's more pleasing to the eye on its own, and it mixes well with others. Here's the blue. The blue is deep with the white balance to a daylight on my video light. It looks purplish here. To the eye, it's not that purplish, and if we just go in and mix just a little bit of green to it, we get what I would consider a true blue. Again, with the white balance here, it looks a little purplish. Balancing for video is always fun, but you see we can get a pretty true blue there, etc. Got a nice amber, magenta, yellow, amber, pink. Looking back at white as well. White is going to, on most consoles, not include the white LEDs, so we'll include them now. It gets quite bright. Let me also show you the white LEDs by themselves. Okay, so this is the white LEDs by themselves. It's a medium white. I don't have my color temperature meter out right now, but I can tell you it's probably around about 3,500 K is the color temperature that we're seeing there. You know, it's a nice, not warm, not cool, just an average white, okay? But you totally can warm that up. This fixture, like many of its type, has a channel, let me find it, for adjusting the CTO. And so there, it's a warm white, and it goes all the way to its cool white at the bottom of the channel. So you've got that option as well. You can dial in a CTO channel. Just to show you, if we have a blue and we dial in that CTO channel on this fixture, the CTO channel does kind of mix down to a white from the color that you had, okay? So as you bring that in, it's white only. When you have that CTO channel, you pop it out, you're back in color mode. So it's kind of like flipping a mode, but you can always mix a color if you don't like that transition there. You can always just mix a custom color, you know, for your color temp. So if I go to white here on the console, I bring up my white channel, I say, okay, you know, I grab my color meter or just my eye and look at the camera, and I make a nice warm white, right? So I'm going to pull a lot of blue out. I'm going to pull some red out. Make sure we have a good amount of green, though not too much. And there I've got just a quick, you know, kind of neutral white, but I could bend that to any color temperature I need. Now, as I'm reviewing this, I don't know if you hear it on my lavalier microphone, but fans are going up and down as we use the brightness of this unit, okay? So when I was at full brightness, the fans were their loudest, but I've dimmed it down here a little bit, just color-wise, and intensity is about 30%. The fan's gotten pretty quiet to the ear, okay? Let's take a look at the aura effect. So the aura effect, or the backlight dimmer, which is pretty typical in pancake washes. The Martin Mac Aura was really the first that invented this class of lights. It allows you to do some interesting things. So I'm going to manually just pan this so you can see it. And I'm going to go ahead and turn off the backlight. So this here is only the LED, the backlight effect, okay? So we can take that in color here and make it any color we want. Just to show you. So right now it's red. Okay, that's the look you see when you point it at you on the stage. Okay, you see red there, it's catching a lot of light. There's a good angle. It was catching a lot of light from my video light here. And so that's a backlight effect. It doesn't really cast much light. That's not the purpose. The purpose is just to give you a second color. So you can have this glowing in the background if it's on camera. It looks really cool. I don't use it a ton myself because I just don't typically take the time to program the backlight effect, but just to show you, if you have this red in and you bring in a different color, okay, so let's bring in the intensity channel here, and it is white right now, but I'm going to switch that color to blue. Okay, so now, you know, I still got, oops, I turned my aura blue. Didn't know that that palette had that in it. So we'll go ahead and set our backlight back to red. And so now, I'll take my dimmer to full. We've got a blue light, actually, just so you can see on camera what I'm seeing. Blue light, red backlight. You kind of see how they mix together. So the funky thing about that is, the light that's cast is completely blue, right? When you get, 5 feet away from it. But the light that you see on the lens is a mix of the two. And maybe it's hard to see again because we're on a camera here, but in person it's a mix of the two. And where it gets interesting, you kind of see it there, we're still catching the light a lot. Where it gets interesting is as you change the zoom. So like here we see, okay, you can see the red in the lens, but it's a blue light that's cast. I'll bring up the intensity a little bit, mix it together. And then as I move the zoom, let's watch what happens, okay? So I move the zoom. When I go narrow, I see on the lens physically, visually to me, a little bit more of the blue. When I go wide, I see a little bit more of the red, okay? And so in this case, the blue again is the beam coming out, the red is the lens. So at wide, I'm a little closer to those LEDs, I see a little bit more of that. The opposite, when I'm narrow, I see a little bit more of the blue, the cast light, a little bit less of the backlight effect. Okay. The other thing that this light has, and I'm not sure it's in this profile, is it does have some different macros built into it to be able to control 3 different rings of LEDs. So it's got 3 sets of LEDs, you can animate those, and that's what I don't like about this light. I told Gamma this, they know about it. For the price, this really can't be beat. I know a number of our customers at Learn Stage Lighting Gear have bought these. They've been really happy with them. Great lights, okay, great price, good build, good light quality. Everything's great. I've got these in a theater, I've got them in some churches, some bands using them. Everybody's happy with them, okay? We can get your road case as well. The ring animation I like a lot. However, you can't control the rings individually. Now, if you go to other manufacturers and find a fixture like this with individual ring control, cost-wise, you're gonna pay about $1,000 more at the time of this recording of this video, okay? That's almost twice the price. It's about 80% more cost to get that ring control. So, in this case, I say, you know what? It's really not worth it. And in fact, as we move more and more towards a pixel-mapped world, having ring control over the 3 rings isn't that valuable because it doesn't translate incredibly well to pixels like having every individual pixel would. So for the price, really can't be beat. My wish for it is that it did have the ring control, but everything else about it really meets my standards well. It's bright. It's got great zoom, it moves smoothly, the fan speed is variable, so just to show you here, I'm going to kick the intensity off. I've still got a little bit of fan noise. base fan is going now, LED fan turned off. And in a minute here, this thing's literally going to go silent. And that's what I love about it. So if you're interested in more information about the Gamma Borealis RC or anything we carry at Learn Stage Lighting Gear, we're here to help you get the right gear and get a personalized price. So if you're interested, check out our website at learnstagelighting.com/gear. We'll have this as well as other products. We'll have you fill out just a little bit of information about yourself, request a quote, and we'll help match you with the best light for your needs. And when that happens, you save yourself money because you're not buying the wrong thing. You get the right thing the first time. Maybe the Borealis is it for you. Maybe it's not, but either way, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you haven't already, check out the unboxing. You don't want to miss what's in the box for the Borealis. And we will see you guys over at Learn Stage Lighting Gear and on our next video. Be sure to subscribe. Thanks.